Yeah, strategy games have a way of pulling you in like no other. If you love the feeling of making smart decisions that pay off hours later, you're in the right place. Let's check out 22 of the best strategy games you can play right now. Alright folks, first up, we're going with a bit of an unexpected hit. When you hear Gears of War, strategy probably isn't the first thing that comes to mind. But Gears Tactics takes the chunky, cover-based combat of the series and brilliantly translates it into a turn-based strategy game. Unlike most XCOM copycat games, where you're constantly worrying about percentages, Gears Tactics leans into action. When you tell a unit to fire, they hit. The game wants you to push forward, use executions to get extra actions, and chain together satisfying moves.
I'll cover the other side.
The story's solid too for a strategy game. With fully voiced over cutscenes, it's a fantastic blend of tactical depth and that over-the-top crunchy Gears combat.
Got something extra for that, drone.
Bit of an underrated game in my view. Alright, next we gotta talk about a pillar of the strategy genre with the Civilization series. It's basically the gold standard of 4X strategy, and Civ 7 refines that formula to near perfection. It's all about growing a civilization from a tiny village to a sprawling empire, choosing whether to dominate through warfare, culture, science, or diplomacy. In Civ 7, city planning is more important than ever, but be warned, the AI can be weird sometimes. But that's part of the charm. With expansions planned, there's a ridiculous amount of replayability with this one. I've had a blast with Civ games over the years, and I'd have to say, this one is still fairly new and has a few teething issues. But I'm sure after a few more patches, it'll definitely be up there with the best strategy experiences you can have right now. Real-time strategy doesn't get much better than StarCraft II. The game is a masterclass in balance, with 3 factions, Terran, Zerg, and Protoss, each playing wildly different, but still somehow feeling evenly matched. This one is for the ultra micro-competitive players, but the campaign is also fantastic, especially if you like that old-school Blizzard storytelling with cinematic cutscenes and epic sci-fi battles. But the real meat of StarCraft II is its multiplayer, which is brutal. If you want a game that'll test your speed, decision-making, and ability to multitask under pressure, this is it. There's a reason StarCraft was basically South Korea's national sport for years. You want to dive in? Maybe start with the campaign before throwing yourself into the deep end of competitive play. Now for one of the most in-depth strategy games you can possibly play. And I'm of course talking about Total War. Armies, real-time battles, and deep empire management, and layers in the absolute insanity of Warhammer's fantasy setting. Want to lead an army of undead? Done. Want to command a horde of chaos demons? Do what you want. The variety here is unmatched, with each faction playing completely different. Whether you're using classic Total War tactics or just sending a giant monster to obliterate everything, the battles are visually stunning, and the grand strategy layer is just as addictive. If you're into Total War or just love Warhammer, this is peak strategy gaming. I've played Total War for quite a few years now, and I've always felt these games don't get the attention they deserve. I guess because it's only on PC, and you need a pretty strong rig to play it, which means it's not very accessible. But definitely one to play if you're a PC elitist like me.
We're serious.
Turn-based tactics don't get much better than XCOM 2, and this series is legendary for it. It takes everything the 2012 reboot did and cranks it up. More tension, more customization, and a campaign that makes you feel like the underdog at all times. Instead of playing as the last line of defense against an alien invasion, you're now leading a resistance force fighting back against a world already conquered. The procedural mission structure keeps things unpredictable. The modding scene is insane, and the War of the Chosen expansion basically turns it into a whole new game. Sure, the RNG can be frustrating. Missing a 95% shot will make you question reality, but that just adds to the thrill. If you love strategy with high stakes and real consequences like permadeath, XCOM 2 is essential. Now let's quickly talk about instant gaming, the best way to get your games for less money than you would from retail. Whether it's new releases, bestsellers, or upcoming pre-orders, you'll find them at a discount for PC, PlayStation, and more. Unlike shady key marketplaces, Instant Gaming only sells keys from authorized resellers, so you're getting legit products at great prices. Plus, with a top Trustpilot rating and 24/7 customer support, you can buy with confidence. Personally, I've been using their service for a while and always had a great experience, and that's why we're happy to partner with them. Check out Instant Gaming through the link in the description and start saving today.
Your efforts have landed us here, my faithful friend.
Sometimes you just need a hit of nostalgia, and Command & Conquer Remastered delivers exactly that, but better. This is a faithful remaster of the classic real-time strategy games Tiberian Dawn and Red Alert. It does everything right. Modernized visuals, remastered audio, and even online multiplayer that actually works. It's still got that classic, unique FMV storytelling, the ridiculous units, and the fast-paced strategy that makes C&C an RTS icon. The best part? The devs left the cheese untouched. If you grew up with the 90s strategy games, or you're a hardcore RTS fan, this one definitely is worth picking up. Also, it's usually on sale, so why not pick it up? You ever play a game where every step feels like defusing a bomb? That's Commandos Origins. It's a prequel to the classic series, and yeah, it's still all about sneaking past Nazi patrols, distracting guards with cigarette packs, and pulling off wild synchronized takedowns with your squad of weirdly overqualified misfits. It's real old school in the best way. No XP bars, no crafting system, just you, a map full of enemies, and the kind of tension that makes you save every 5 seconds just in case. Each character has their own role. The spy can disguise himself, the Green Beret is your brute force guy, and everyone's got tools that feel useful, not just gimmicky. It's a game that rewards patience and creativity, and punishes you hard if you go in loud.
Glad to assist.
If you grew up with games like Desperados or the original Commandos, this is like slipping back into an old pair of boots. Slightly worn, maybe not quite as amazing as it was back in the day. But still, the game is an essential slice of strategy nostalgia. Small in scale but massive in depth, Into the Breach is one of the most finely tuned tactics games ever made. Every battle takes place on an 8x8 grid, but the level of strategy here is insane. The game gives you all the information up front, enemy moves, attack orders, and potential damage, so victory comes down to outthinking your opponent, not luck. Every turn is a puzzle. It's kind of like Hearthstone meets Advance Wars. The game is intensely satisfying. When you finally pull off a perfect mission, saving civilians by the skin of your teeth, it's a kick. The pixel art aesthetic is gorgeous, the music is top tier, and the time-traveling narratives add a cool twist. Into the Breach is a masterclass in strategic design.
Invasions, massacres,
Few
sieges.
strategy games have stood the test of time like Age of Empires II. The definitive edition polishes the classic with 4K visuals, improved AI, and a mountain of new content, keeping it just as up-to-date as ever. At its core, it's about managing economy, military, and micro-combat. Whether you're turtling behind walls or rushing enemy villagers, every match demands adaptability. The AI is smarter in this one too. The pathfinding is better, and the sheer amount of content, including 3 expansions and a thriving multiplayer scene, makes this the ultimate version of an RTS legend. For strategy fans, Age of Empires II is timeless. It's the perfect blend of nostalgia and modern refinement, making it just as essential now as it was decades ago.
Look to the front. There is glory to be won. The green.
The next game on this list, Invisible Inc., is XCOM meets a cyberpunk. It's a turn-based strategy game where stealth, hacking, and smart decision-making are more important than brute force. You control a team of elite spies infiltrating high-security facilities, using hacking to manipulate patrols, disable cameras, and stay undetected. Missions are procedurally generated, and failure is permanent, making every choice high stakes. The game rewards experimentation, letting you build unique strategies with different agents, tools, and hacking programs. This one is fairly modern, definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of turn-based strategy. With its slick aesthetic and tense tactical gameplay, Invisible Inc. is a fresh addition to the formula. Cities Skylines takes everything people love about SimCity and expands it with deeper mechanics. giving you full control over urban planning, infrastructure, and policies. Want to build a sprawling metropolis with a flawless public transport system? Go for it. Prefer a chaotic city with traffic jams and pollution? That's on you. What makes City Skylines the best in class is how much detail goes into making a city actually function. A poorly designed road network will lead to traffic nightmares, bad zoning will leave people unemployed, and a lack of services can turn your utopia into a dystopia fast. The game rewards creativity, but also punishes poor planning. The massive modding community and expansions, adding everything from natural disasters to industrial zones. City Skylines offers endless replayability. It's the gold standard for city building, letting you craft a thriving metropolis or watch everything collapse in spectacular fashion. Factorio is an automation masterpiece. It starts simple. Mine some ore, smelt some iron, and build basic machinery. But soon, you're designing massive interwoven factories with conveyor belts snaking in every direction, all in pursuit of perfect efficiency. The challenge is in optimization. Every part of your factory, from production lines to power grids, needs to be streamlined to avoid bottlenecks. And just when you think you've mastered automation, pollution attracts hostile alien creatures, forcing you to build defenses and rethink your layout. There's something incredibly satisfying about watching your factory hum along perfectly. And with cooperative multiplayer, mod support, and nearly limitless scalability, Factorio is a game that sucks you in and refuses to let go. If you play this one, let us know. Homeworld isn't just an RTS, it's one of the godfathers of space combat. Unlike traditional strategy games, battles take place in full 3D, meaning attacks can come from any direction. This adds a layer of tactical depth rarely seen in the genre, making positioning and movement just as important as firing. The Remastered collection brings this classic back with modern visuals, refined mechanics, an incredible soundtrack that enhances the game's emotional weight. The single-player campaign follows a desperate journey to reclaim your people's lost homeworld, with battles that feel cinematic and high stakes. I could have put Homeworld 3 on here, but honestly the campaign is a letdown. But that's just another option if you want something more modern looking. Whether you're a longtime fan or a newcomer, Homeworld remains one of the most immersive and visually stunning RTS games ever made. If you love space strategy, this one is a must-play. SpellForce 3 is a rare hybrid that blends real-time strategy with RPG mechanics. Kind of like Kingdom Under Fire if you remember that one. SpellForce creates a game that feels both tactical and magical. You control a hero who levels up, gains new abilities, and interacts with a rich world. But you're also managing armies, building bases, and engaging in large-scale battles. The campaign is packed with story-driven quests, making it one of the most in-depth RTS games you can play. Plus, the skirmishes and multiplayer let you dive into strategic combat, while RPG elements keep things engaging beyond just army management. Definitely one to support, seeing as you don't see many games like this anymore. Next, we've got one of the best city builders ever made. Anno 1800 is a masterclass in the genre, blending detailed management systems and expansive strategic gameplay. Set in the Industrial Revolution, you're tasked with establishing a sprawling empire that spans across land and sea, all while maintaining a delicate balance between trade, industry, and the welfare of your citizens. The game's central appeal lies in its dynamic systems. You'll manage the intricacies of production chains, establish bustling trade routes, and expand a new island to mine valuable resources. The constant flow of balancing supply and demand across your empire is engaging and demands careful attention to avoid collapse. Even your population's happiness is crucial. Neglect their needs and you'll face revolts or strikes. However, the complexity is what makes Anno 1800 so rewarding. Beyond the city building, you'll dive into the world of diplomacy, forging alliances or engaging in high-stakes warfare against other factions. I remember playing this one when it first came out, and I had a great time with it, so it's probably even greater now than it was back then. Company of Heroes 2 is an all-time classic, which elevates the RTS genre by blending traditional strategy with the harsh realities of war. Set during World War II, the game takes you through intense battles on the Eastern Front, where you must not only outmaneuver the enemy, but also manage the brutal conditions that come with war, like freezing temperatures, limited resources, and unpredictable weather. The tactical depth of Company of Heroes 2 is one of its strongest features. Every battle is a test of positioning, timing, and terrain advantage. Using cover effectively can turn the tide of a battle. The squad-based mechanics make it feel personal too. Your soldiers don't just die, they leave behind emotional scars that affect the outcome of future battles. For those who appreciate deep, tactical strategy games that go beyond the typical RTS formula, Company of Heroes 2 offers one of the most immersive and challenging experiences available. If The Sims and Dwarf Fortress had a baby, it would be RimWorld. On the surface, it's a colony management game where you guide a group of crash-landed survivors on an alien planet. But in practice, it's chaotic, unpredictable storytelling engine where anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Colonists aren't just numbers on a screen. They have personalities, relationships, and quirks that make them feel human.
We fought for our lives.
The game generates stories that are often hilarious, sometimes tragic, and always memorable. You're dealing with pirate raids, plagues, rogue AI, and the occasional man-hunting squirrel. The challenge in this one is adapting to the chaos, whether you're running a peaceful utopia or a brutal dictatorship. RimWorld ensures a memorable strategic experience.
Fools chose to serve the darkness.
The Banner Saga Trilogy combines the brutal turn-based combat of an RTS with the rich storytelling and character development of an RPG, all set in a beautifully hand-drawn, Viking-inspired world. The strategic combat in the Banner Saga requires careful planning and tactical positioning. Every battle is an opportunity to use your character's unique skills and strengths, and the turn-based system is both simple to learn and complex to master. As the leader of your caravan, you'll guide people who are more than just units on a battlefield. They have personalities, stories, and relationships that make every decision a challenge. With its gorgeous art style, unforgettable soundtrack, and deep narrative, the Banner Saga Trilogy is a must-play for anyone who loves a strategy game that combines both tactical combat and rich storytelling, and may want something more portable that they can play on the go. Next, we have what is, in my opinion, the best Total War game you can play right now, and that is Total War 3 Kingdoms. This strategic masterpiece that perfectly blends the classic Total War formula with deeper diplomacy, hero-based gameplay, and a captivating narrative. Set during the Three Kingdoms period of China, the game lets you control legendary warlords and their armies, aiming to unify the fractured land under your banner. Diplomacy takes a front seat in this one, with alliances, betrayals, and rivalries all playing a role in shaping the course of the war. But what really sets Three Kingdoms apart from the rest is the personal nature of the generals. They have personalities, motivations, and unique abilities that can turn the tide of battle. Combat on the field is thrilling as ever. Three Kingdoms brings epic large-scale battles to life with detailed unit management and tactical deployment. The game delivers a perfect mix of grand strategy, tactical depth, and personal storytelling, making it one of the most engrossing strategy games out there. Next is one of my personal favorite strategy games, Hearts of Iron 4. This one takes the grand strategy genre to unprecedented levels, offering an in-depth World War II simulator where you can control every aspect of a nation's military, politics, and economy. The depth of this one is pretty impressive. You can be controlling a major superpower or a smaller nation, and you'll be involved in managing everything from production lines to diplomacy and technological advancements. You've also got an amazing skill tree that lets you shape the path of history depending on your nation. What makes Hearts of Iron 4 the best World War II sim is the scale of its decisions. Do you focus on developing your military and launching a full-scale invasion, or do you strengthen your economy to support a prolonged war effort? The political system is equally complex, with factions forming and shifting as the war unfolds. You can influence the world in ways that change history, or even rewrite it entirely. The ability to control every element of warfare ranging from military tactics to national policies, gives Hearts of Iron 4 an incredible feel that few games can match. Blizzard's Hearthstone revolutionized the CCG genre by making it incredibly accessible without sacrificing depth. With simple mechanics and a charming art style, Hearthstone brings the strategic depth of traditional CCGs into a more casual, fast-paced format that anyone can dive into. Some might say it has a pay-to-win formula, but technically you can grind everything out. The game is free to play, and really a good one to play on mobile too. So the game at its core is about outsmarting your opponent with clever deck building and tactical decisions. Each card you play could turn the tide of battle, and the game's hero abilities add another layer of strategy. The beauty of Hearthstone is its accessibility. New players can get into the game easily, but seasoned veterans will find endless matches in mastering their decks and adapting to ever-changing metas. The real draw is the constant updates. Blizzard releases new expansions regularly, introducing new cards, mechanics, and meta shifts, keeping the gameplay fresh, though at the same time also making your favorite cards outdated. But whether you're casually playing or climbing the ranks, there's always something to strive for. Next up, a fantastic game from Paradox Interactive. Crusader Kings III lets you control entire dynasties. It's basically a medieval soap opera where every ruler, noble, and court gesture has their own ambitions, rivalries, and weird personality quirks. You'll be arranging marriages for political gain, backstabbing your own family members, and trying not to die from suspicious hunting accidents. The best part of this for me is definitely the mid-game, where all your political feuds play out. One minute you're building an empire, the next your heir is a complete idiot and everything falls apart. If you love deep, emergent storytelling mixed with ruthless strategy, Crusader Kings III is one of the best out there. Stellaris' grand strategy taken to the stars. You start with a single planet and expand into a massive galactic empire through diplomacy, warfare, and exploration. This one has fantastic emergent storytelling. You're constantly uncovering anomalies and secrets on planets. One might have you leading a benevolent intergalactic federation, while another sees you as a ruthless machine empire exterminating all organic life. The game's deep political, economic, and military systems create endless possibilities, with frequent updates and expansions introducing new mechanics, alien species, and galactic crises. Stellaris keeps evolving. This is another excellent Paradox game that's essential to try if you're into space and grand strategy. And that's all I've got for today's video. Don't forget to hit that like button and check out our next video. See you over there.